The current strategy isn't sustainable. Based on this data, we need to pivot our investments in the next quarter to maximize returns.
When a 12-year-old boy stared down a wealthy tycoon and declared, "I'll do the translation for $500, the entire room erupted in laughter. Everyone except the tycoon himself. 30 seconds later, that same man stood motionless, speechless, understanding. The child wasn't demanding payment, he was requesting something infinitely more precious. What unfolded next would transform both their destinies forever. When 12-year-old Oliver Bennett locked eyes with the wealthy businessman, declaring, "I'll handle the translation for $500, the entire gathering erupted in amusement. Every single person except the businessman. Half a minute afterward, that identical man stood motionless, completely stunned, understanding the child wasn't demanding payment. He was requesting something infinitely more precious. And what transpired following that instant would transform both their destinies forever. If this tale moved your spirit, express your appreciation, like, share, and leave your reflections below. Oliver Bennett wasn't the type of child who captured attention. At 12 years of age, he moved through existence silently, as though frightened to occupy room. He resided with his mother, Diana, in a cramped apartment situated above an abandoned pastry shop. His father had deserted them 24 months prior, leaving behind merely financial burden, outstanding invoices, and a commitment he never honored. "I'll return," he had promised. He never appeared. From that point forward, Diana labored through consecutive shifts as a front desk coordinator at a neighborhood translation firm. And Oliver, who possessed an unusual talent for dialects, devoted most of his hours assisting her review documents she transported home. By his 12th birthday, he communicated in English, French, and Spanish with complete fluency. Yet the world remained unaware of this. To everyone surrounding him, he was simply another reserved child battling to survive. And that's precisely how the narrative should have remained: simple, unremarkable, forgettable. But one Tuesday evening altered everything. Diana received an urgent telephone call from her supervisor, desperately requesting she deliver a particular translated document to a business function, where a significant visitor from Europe was present. She hesitated to bring Oliver along, but alternatives didn't exist. They couldn't manage a childminder, and the venue appeared secure, a premium hotel in the city center. When they stepped into the magnificent conference chamber, Oliver felt completely misplaced. Everyone wore formal attire and costly timepieces. Servers carried gleaming platters. The surfaces reflected like polished glass. At the heart of everything stood Marcus Shaw, a 46-year-old tycoon recognized for his ruthless business choices and his capacity to transform anything into revenue. Individuals admired him, respected him, yet nobody genuinely appreciated him. Diana approached the welcoming counter to surrender the package. Oliver remained beside her, gripping his school bag, attempting to remain unnoticed. Suddenly, disorder erupted. The European visitor had appeared, an elderly gentleman named Henrik Russo, who communicated very minimal English. The professional translator scheduled to interpret for him was trapped in congestion. Marcus's expression hardened. Investors were observing. Recording devices were capturing. A multi-million currency partnership relied on this gathering. One of Marcus's associates glanced around, and then, for reasons nobody would ever comprehend, gestured toward Oliver. "This child communicates in French," she stated frantically. He assisted his mother with translation assignments previously. Diana reacted with alarm. "No, absolutely not. He's merely a child." But Marcus, frustrated and approaching the edge of losing his arrangement, gave Oliver an extended, doubtful examination. He stated, "Can you interpret this discussion?" Oliver swallowed with difficulty. The chamber felt as though it was shrinking around him. Everyone was observing. He could have declined. He could have retreated backward. But then he recalled his mother's exhausted gaze the previous evening, the invoices she had concealed beneath the furniture. Believing he hadn't observed, he advanced forward instead. "Yes," Oliver stated gently, "but I'll interpret it for $500. The entire conference chamber went absolutely silent for an instant, and then amusement exploded. Individuals chuckled, some murmured. Others grinned openly at the small child daring to bargain with a tycoon. Marcus released the most booming laughter of all. $500, he mocked. For a child's interpretation, Oliver didn't drop his gaze. His voice didn't tremble, and that self-assurance unexpected, almost surreal silenced Marcus completely. "It's not for myself," Oliver stated. "It's for my mother. She labors so intensely. She deserves a respite." Marcus's grin vanished, and for the initial time, he genuinely observed the child positioned before him. Not a youngster, but someone carrying greater responsibility than he should. "Fine," Marcus stated eventually. "Interpret. Let's witness what you're capable of." What occurred next astonished everyone. Henrik Russo commenced explaining the particulars of his venture, a sustainable residential project across Europe. His presentation was intricate, packed with specialized terminology, the sort of vocabulary even expert translators battled with. But Oliver didn't falter. He didn't pause. He interpreted every statement with flawless precision, velocity, and lucidity. Investors who had laughed previously now leaned closer, astounded. Marcus's typically frigid expression gradually transformed into something almost compassionate. Surprise, admiration, and something deeper. Remorse nobody could determine. Henrik, the European visitor, was the initial to applaud. "This child," Henrik stated in accented English, "is exceptional, truly exceptional." The chamber erupted in applause, but Marcus Shahi simply remained there, motionless, for the initial time in years. Something penetrated through the barriers he had constructed around his spirit or recollection. His own youth, a small boy just like Oliver, positioned in a chamber far too immense for him, attempting to be courageous for a mother who deserved superior. Marcus hadn't reflected on her in years. When the applause subsided, Marcus turned toward Oliver. "You earned this," he stated quietly, handing him not $500, but $5,000. Diana gasped. "Sir, this is excessive." "It's not," Marcus responded. "Your son rescued an arrangement worth millions." He paused, clearing his windpipe. Children like him don't appear frequently. But Oliver shook his head, returning the package backward. "I don't want this amount," he stated. "I only requested 500. Marcus was rendered speechless. The child declined payment, a youngster who obviously required it, who existed modestly, who could have altered his existence with a simple agreement. Why?" Marcus whispered. Oliver's response touched every spirit in the chamber. "Because wealth isn't everything," he stated. "I simply wanted to help my mother breathe slightly easier. The remainder someone else probably requires it more." That was the instant Marcus Shaw shattered. Something within him fractured, something frozen, something ancient, something agonizing. He witnessed in Oliver everything he once aspired to become: truthful, compassionate, pure-spirited. And he witnessed everything he had sacrificed becoming a tycoon. He knelt before Oliver, positioning himself level with the 12-year-old. "You taught me something today," he stated. "Something I should have discovered long ago." Oliver smiled tenderly. "What?" "That the world isn't transformed by individuals with wealth," Marcus responded. "It's transformed by individuals with compassion." What transpired afterwards circulated across digital platforms within hours. Marcus didn't merely provide Oliver $5,000. He offered Diana a permanent position at double her compensation with advantages she had never imagined possible. He also established a scholarship initiative named the Bennett Foundation, designed to assist exceptional children from struggling households. And Oliver became the representative not for recognition, but for inspiration. But what touched Oliver the most wasn't the payment, the employment, or the acknowledgement. It was what Marcus whispered to him before they separated. "My mother would have been proud of a child like you." Oliver didn't fully comprehend those words. Not immediately, but later that evening when Diana embraced him tighter than she had in years, he understood something powerful. Sometimes the smallest gesture of bravery can mend wounds you never knew existed.